All right, everyone, we're back with more Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. We're on the second part of the first trial. We're coming back from recess. Let us resume. Continue on to the next chapter. Yes. April 20th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Rubble, 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 rubble. Clack. Court will now reconvene. Has our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered? Yes, Your Honor. Well, she's regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again. That's the thing. You see, she's quite fatigued. You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. The defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand. Very well, the witness will take the stand. Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession? Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poorer loser. Not. Oh, surprise. Name's Olga Orley. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quick Fingers Orley. Oh, really? Want to know something else? That was very clever, by the way, Judge. Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like oh really. Yeah, I figured that out. There, that's the truth. I hope you're satisfied. Rubble, 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 rubble. Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see? Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. Fine. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game as a waitress. So you were in cahoots with the victim. Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles, but winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it, it would have made a great double play. Just like that, a legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed, getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all his prior wins. A 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. Rubble, 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 rubble. Oh, really, Orley? How droll. But it appears you made quite the mistake. A mistake? I agree, the trap was elegant. Yet what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right. He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quick Fingers Orley. Oh, really? The witness would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick. Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad. You're not bad. You're just drawn that way. Clack. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court. Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. Fade out. Fade in. Witness testimony. The best laid traps. That night I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith. It was that no-good cheating defendant. A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark. The trap was perfect, I tell you, perfect. If that rotten cheater hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking. Well, the testimony, for what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice. With witnesses like hers, who needs criminals? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? Cross-examination. The best laid traps. That night I planted a card like I was supposed to. Hold it! This planted card, which card was it exactly? The trump card. The 5 of hearts. Let me guess. Mr. Wright was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. Oh, the cat is here. Want to come up? Come on. So you're not meowing constantly while I'm trying to play. Let me guess. Mr. Wright was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. At least that's what you were going to accuse him of doing, thereby ruining his legend. I slid it into Wright's pocket. When was this? Why, before the match, of course, while he was eating. At the Borscht Bowl Club, we serve borscht and suckers. Remind me never to go there. Of course, the card was to make its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early and allowed to thicken. And Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. Hold it. So everything went according to plan. Exactly. The 5th ace came up, so it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as a cheat and a fraud. There are worse things to be known as, I suppose. Tell us what happened with the search. But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. Hold it. The card disappeared? Yeah, my trump card, the 5 of hearts. Gone, without a trace. Poof, zippo. We searched every nook and cranny, even inside his cute little hat, with Mr. Bill on it. But the card was nowhere to be found, is this correct? Never in my long storied career, never has Quick Fingers Orley ever been so readily duped. Oh, really? Stop. It's not funny. So what did happen to that 5 of hearts? Don't look at me. Why don't you ask that cheating, lying, two-faced defendant? So the 5 of hearts is still missing in action. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. Hold it! Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing, which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well... What was that just now? I sensed something. Yeah, this is this game's superpower. The perceive. Something wrong, Mr. Justice? No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Should I press her a little harder? A little harder? Yes, press harder. Miss Sorley, you're hiding something. Well, what are you talking about? You... Me? Quick Fingers Orley? Hide something? Objection. The defense will refrain from baseless accusations. I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Mr. Wright hit him. With my own eyes, I saw it. What's this weird vibe I'm getting? That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? Okay. Whoa, what's going on here? This sensation, it's coming into focus. I knew I shouldn't have had mushrooms for breakfast. There, that twitch, it's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habit like I couldn't before. Okay. Do I press perceive now? Gotcha. Miss Sorley, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Unaware of what? Whenever you touch, whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. My neck? So what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of the testimony, she's subconsciously recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory, and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. A memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? Clack. This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us? Her habit of scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her most of the moment of the crime? Miss Sorley, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe the weapon that left an inerasable impression on your neck is this. Oh, and there goes the kitty cat. I don't know what. Well, it's the moment of the attack, so really it's the only piece of evidence we have, because everything else is like a photo. It can't be the cards. It wouldn't be the phone, so take that. Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. And what reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were only the witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain? What's he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. Objection. This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. Conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant. Justice, I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later, just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Miss Sorley, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime, the very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. Oh, you... we know you're not Russian. The witness will testify, please. Now, the witness will also, stop pretending to be Russian. Bah, fine. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Okay? Hold it. You seem uneasy. You try standing up here. Her eyes are darting all over the place. I must be getting warm. Tell me, after the crime, what was the defendant like? Well, he must have been stunned by the weight of his crime. He sat in a daze at that table until the cops came. Intriguing. I believe you've gotten all the testimony you're going to get out of this witness. So, what do you think about her testimony? I'll tell you what I think. Sorry, I had a hiccup. I'll tell you what I think. Her testimony is flawed. Is basically bogus. It contradicts the evidence. Well, what's that? Clack. Well, show us this evidence, Mr. Justice. This evidence that you claim contradicts the testimony. She didn't let him out of her sight until the cops got there. I know there's some evidence that contradicts that. Yeah. By the police. Yeah, but... Okay, it's gotta be... I think it's the cell phone, because he had to, like... See, unlike the prior games, the information would just be right there in the description, and that's how you find the contradictions. But I think this game actually expects you to remember what people said. And they said earlier that Mr. Wright had to go upstairs. So, take that. Miss Orley, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. Ack. So, explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Eek! Rubble, 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 rubble. The man who picked up a bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. Showdown time. You dirty cheat. Check his pockets now. It's gone. The card's gone. You lose. Ugh. Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to Wright, and he hit me. Really? I forgot about that part. You, some master of cheating you turned out to be. Eek! Oh, so it was her eek that rang out. When I came to, the victim was already dead. Oh, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. If it came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. Well, where does this leave us? Madness. This is madness. I'm dreaming. Madness? This is Sparta. It must have been me who was hit with a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this. It appears our prosecution is at his wit's end, and frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that, as the defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss Orley a big, fat liar. What? 3 were in that room the night of the murder, the defendant, victim, and her. And she has a motive. A motive? Her plot foiled, the witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouement, I don't know that word. The denouement of what that argument. And the denouement of that argument was murder. What? What? I didn't. I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. Rubble, 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 rubble. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Wright? Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another person in the room at the time of the murder. Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. And the one who swapped the card didn't know two colors of cards were being used. A fourth person. Huh. This theory again. Your fourth person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less. But what? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Remember what I said? The fourth person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the color on the backs of the cards. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? The cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there was one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can figure out who it was? It's not me, I swear. Who is this fourth person? Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? Well, it was obviously Christoph. Take that. As I expected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the fourth person that night. But of course Mr. Gavin knows the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which of the cards are blue, the ones on the floor or the table. But look! You could see the color in this photo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light. Is it true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim? It was only that, a game. In the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor. A competition? Yes, a test of wits. A silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. He did say that! Holy shit. I forgot it was him who said that. Well, Christoph? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin, is something the matter? No, nothing. Excuse me, it was just so sudden. Right, you are serious. I'm sorry, right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Christoph? You know, even I'd never take a joke this far. Rubble, 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 rubble. Objection. This has gone beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant accusing his own defense attorney of murder. I assure you I'm quite sane. But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There is a possibility, after all. They may have met that night, before the game started. What are you suggesting? Is this the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request that you The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? Rubble, 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 clack. I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss Orley. Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. Gulp. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Let's go. This was Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along, and I intend to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. Et tu, Justice? You would betray me, your teacher? I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. It's about the truth. Clack. Very well, the defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand. Please. Let's see. Appetite before murder. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club that night, the night of the murder? I dine with him rather frequently. Or I did. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder? Quite against my will, I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Clack. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Sir? He's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? Cross-examination. Appetite before murder. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Hold it. You had dinner with Mr. Gavin? Yes, he dines with me at the Borscht Bowl Club quite frequently. Or he did. Before today, before we're about to throw him into jail. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot, as usual. Usual. I always eat at the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting. So the plates and such on the table were from your dinner? Indeed, the remnants of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, then Christoph left. After that, Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. Hold it. 5 minutes? So the two of them could have passed in the restaurant during that time. That would have been a fateful encounter, to be sure. Objection. Oh, Mr. Wright. What was it you said? Kristoff, Gavin, and Shady Smith may have met. I believe I did say that, yeah. Here I was all nervous about this meeting, and now we hear that they just passed in the hall. That does seem a little weak as a pretense for murder. Oh, it would be, if that were all that really happened. Come on, Mr. Wright. What are you hiding this time? When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. Oh, no, back. The trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. Hold it. About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga Orley mentioned. The plan was simple, elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. I was to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull out the planted card, and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Yes, a harmless prank, in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. The card she planted! Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice? The murder weapon? Rubble. Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see. A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. That sounds like terrific drama. A card inside the murder weapon. That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. Yeah, let's take another look. Can I not? Oh, yeah, here we go. The bottle is completely empty. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay. Okay. Clack. Mr. Wright, the poker head of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information. I discovered the trap during the game and disposed of the card in the bottle. Hold it. Why in the bottle? I perceived my opponent's intent immediately. I used the entrapment, you see. I'm used to entrapment, you see. I knew what was coming. Ho-ho, so you struck first. I like that. I know every trick in the book. They don't work on me. At least when you get lucky and stick your hand in your pocket, they don't. The girl was knocked out cold and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. Hold it. You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at the time? Not a soul. It was the middle of the night after all. So there, in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. It didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. Hold it. And when you returned, the victim was already dead, yes. I'll admit I was a little startled when I walked in. A little? He was bleeding from his forehead, after all. I guess I'd be startled too if I walked in on a scene like that. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Hold it. Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I'd obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair, and I figured Christoph's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Christoph. It was I who got you involved, after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. Is this the truth that Mr. Wright was talking about? Justice, you know what you have to do. He's lying. Expose him. Now. Yes, sir. I have to think, what's Mr. Wright trying to tell me with his testimony? The truth has to be in there somewhere. Okay, so let's go through this again. Okay, I didn't find the card. I don't know, it is a contradiction. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? I've examined the bottle and I don't see any card in here. No? What, Mr. Wright? Surely, an ellipsis isn't all you have to say for yourself. I can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle, however. Huh? Perhaps a fifth person came and took it out. Oh, and a sixth person could have helped. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside that bottle. There was nothing. So what's going on here? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? Or did the card just disappear? Clack. In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break him. Just like you and the witness, and it's just getting tongue-tied. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Ugh. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? Yeah, this is some serious. This will get us sanctioned going against the client. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat. Okay, I discovered the trap. Disposed the card in the bottle. Okay, so there's something else. Shady Smith walked in. Girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I turned, he was dead, the blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. What's going on here? In this one, his hat's on. In this one, his hat is off. Oh, the hat was removed during investigation. Still. Oh, the hat was removed during investigation. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. You can't see his forehead because the hat's there. Okay. Alright. Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. We avoided a rather annoying joke there. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Huh. Good point. Rubble, 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 rubble. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain this to the court? Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put that hat on his forehead. Oh. Ah. You did what? You put the hat on the dead man's head? He wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police, when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view, shining bright just like in this photograph. And I picked his hat up off the ground and put it on his head. Why'd you do a thing like that? I'm losing the Paul Lynde voice again. He's higher. He's got like a nasally, he's got a nasally pitch to his voice. All I can say is, I'm sorry. But that's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So Miss Orley didn't see it. It being the victim's or his head. I'd think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin, this witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Mr. Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Huh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall that I spoke with defense attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. The gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? Ooh. It wasn't you, was it? Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands, should it come to that. How did he know the guy was bald? Bone china plate? A kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny. And not plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Not indicating my forehead. Okay, wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club. Is that right? Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china plate? Oh, that's right! Yeah. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it, Mr. Wright? Phoenix Wright? Clack! Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne! Yes, Your Honor. I'm barely doing anything in this trial. I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecutor, clack. Very well, we'll break for 10 minutes. After which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well, this will be the final recess for the day. April 20th, 2:32 p.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby, number 3. Actually, since we're going to recess, it's a good time to take a break myself, so I will be back momentarily to finish off this case, so don't you go nowhere. I'll be right back.